Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and this is the first annual I am reviewing. Today we are looking at Ultimate Spider-Man Annual 2. The cover shows Spider-Man fighting the Punisher, with Daredevil's head looking over them all while using his super senses. This issue was printed to be included at the end of Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 16. The annual released on August 9th, 2006, with a cover date of October 2006. It was written by Brian Michael Bendis and drawn and inked by Mark Brooks. Yeah, a different artist from the main Ultimate Spider-Man series at the time. It was also inked by Mark Morales and Victor Ozaba, colored by Larry Molinar, and lettered by Corey Petit. Now, I'm going to start off this review by giving some context around the four heroes at this time. Last time we saw Moon Knight, he was stabbed by Elektra and put into a coma, and the Kingpin is lying low after Spider-Man shared a tape of him killing Frederick Foswell, the big man. Punisher and Daredevil fought each other in this series' Ultimate Marvel team-up, with that story ending with Spider-Man accidentally causing Daredevil to get shot, well, grazed in the ear, and sending the Punisher to jail. Now, Punisher escaped and then tried to kill the supervillain Boomerang in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 61, but Spider-Man stopped him there too. Okay, so to this story, it opens up with Police Captain Jean DeWolf going to the hospital because the hero Moon Knight has woken up from his coma. She gets to his room too late. Moon Knight has escaped. We then switch to Spider-Man defeating the Shocker with a quick kick in the face. Shocker is a loser villain, the biggest loser villain Ultimate Spider-Man has. He actually shows up in every Ultimate Spider-Man Annual and periodically throughout the series. Shocker even cries a little bit after getting beaten today. Well, Spider-Man questions this time why Shocker keeps getting out of jail so fast, and coincidentally, Foggy Nelson, who we know as Matt Murdock's law partner, tells Spider-Man to simply bring him to the cops for him to actually go to prison. I like how Foggy Nelson and Spider-Man question just what is wrong with the Shocker, even when it comes to Herman Schultz calling himself the Shocker. This story slowly brings Daredevil elements into the story. At the police station, we see a guy dressed as the Marvel superhero Speedball, his only appearance in the Ultimate Universe. Well, Spider-Man brings in the Shocker, all webbed up, and Police Captain Jean DeWolf asks to speak with him on the roof. Jean DeWolf tells Spider-Man of a new crime lord moving into New York, Frank Oliver, the Kangaroo. The Kangaroo isn't special, he doesn't have powers, just a strongman with his own gang. He uses his powerful kicks, like with his leg, literally kick, as a sort of differentiator compared to anyone else, and he's making play for territory in New York. I personally think Kangaroo is better in the main Marvel continuity than here, but he's used well as having, another crime lord. Well, wannabe crime lord. Spider-Man goes to the Kangaroo's hideout and sees a fight happening between the Kangaroo and the Daredevil. And while that's going on, the Punisher is standing on the roof across the street and firing into the Kangaroo's bar, gunning for everybody. Let's talk about Jean DeWolf in the Ultimate Universe. She secretly works for the Kingpin, and this story has her sending Spider-Man to take down one of his rivals since the Kingpin is under investigation and can't act on it himself. There's a moment where Jean tells a fellow officer that they better not complicate their jobs day to day, especially with superpowers in the world now. The cop starts to argue, I'd assume some good points, before Spider-Man shows up. I found this interesting because I think this is her real thoughts and her position as a good cop happened because of her weak belief in the system, and that led her to working with the Kingpin and to becoming captain. I just really like this dialogue she and this other officer have. That's the thing about the Ultimate Universe compared to any other different Marvel universe. The dialogue between characters, even if they're not big characters like, with superpowers, is very realistic. So, like I said, Jean DeWolf sends Spider-Man to take down the Kangaroo. Since, while Spider-Man wears a mask, he can go beat up criminals and get away with it, but the cops can't. They have to follow the rules, which Jean makes Spidey think she's against the corruption and criminals that abuse their rights in the system. But she works for the crime Kingpin who takes advantage of all of it. Honestly, I don't think you really get to see or know her true opinions or side of the law she really wants to fight on. Like, is she doing this for the Kingpin because she also believes in the Kingpin's ways of organizing crime, or does she just not know and is over her head? Well, anyway, at the end of the annual, she hears that the Punisher is nearby and gets concerned. Then Frank Castle shoots her in the back, killing her quick. I'd say her death is still impactful in the Ultimate Universe. I mean, being killed by the Punisher is crazy, but not nearly as good as her in Earth 616 universe. There are moments in this story where we flash back to where the superheroes were before today, and we see Frank Castle in prison after Spider-Man captured him. In prison, he's confronted by the Kangaroo's cousin, saying Punisher is the reason the Kangaroo is getting power over the Kingpin and why he's getting out of jail. Well, Frank Castle decides to get some hits in and throws the lunch table at him and his boys and beats him up until he gets blood on his hands. I'm going to assume that the guy lived. He's tased and put in the prison hospital, or maybe just a hospital, it's not really clear, but he still escapes. During this fight between Punisher and everyone else, Moon Knight jumps in and fights the Punisher. I guess Punisher was the most violent and serious threat at the time. He showed up to the action, and that's why he attacked Punisher. So, Moon Knight is a big mystery in the Ultimate Comics, even to me, a big reader of this stuff. He has 4 different personalities: Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and a little girl. I looked it up online, and I still have no idea who this little girl is, and of course his Moon Knight costume is a personality to him as well. He was stabbed, and his 3 human personalities come together to, I'd say, give him a mental boost to put in the effort to wake him up. We see he also has his girlfriend Marlene, but she just stays at his hideout and helps him on his crusade against the gang lords in New York. This is Daredevil's first appearance in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic line. Before, he met Spider-Man in the Ultimate Marvel Team-Up series, then in Ultimate X-Men. He also had 2 miniseries in the Ultimate Universe as him and Elektra's origin story. He's here just fighting the Kangaroo and his whole gang. He knows the location because of Kangaroo's advisor reaching out to Matt Murdock to be his lawyer, since Kangaroo's against the Kingpin and Matt Murdock here hates the Kingpin. Anyway, here we are. I don't know if Daredevil constantly getting annoyed by Spider-Man and yelling at Spider-Man is supposed to be as funny as I find it, but the banter continues here, as both of them are on the receiving end of the Punisher. At the end, I love when Daredevil tells Spider-Man he's 1 day older after learning about Gene the Wolf being a dirty cop and how anyone could betray you, and Daredevil, him being a human lie detector, telling Spider-Man the whole truth about today. This is a super cool moment. I think it's the coolest Daredevil moment in Earth 1610, with the hero emerging from the wreckage of the bar fight, right behind the Kangaroo and then knocking him out. At the end, it's like an end credit scene from a movie. Daredevil has followed Moon Knight back to his base and offers him his idea to form a group of vigilantes like them to come together organized and take down the Kingpin. This leads into Volume 18 of Ultimate Spider-Man. This leads into the Marvel Knights. The Kingpin himself does show up 3 times in the issue. The biggest moment is at a dinner, and he warns the Kangaroo about doing business in New York. Kangaroo takes this as the Kingpin being scared of him. Yeah, right. I like the Kingpin is giving him 1 chance to leave and stop his nonsense before, well, he gets destroyed. Another moment is just a reminder that Gene the Wolf is in his employ, as she updates him on Spider-Man going after the Kangaroo. Yep, even when Kingpin is under investigation, even when he's eating dinner right across from a senator, he's still committing crimes from his underworld empire. The last shot of this story has the Kingpin looking sad, sitting in his room. I always assumed that this was him still sad for his sick wife, but now I think it was because of Gene the Wolf being killed. Daredevil was the standout character of this issue. He was drawn awesome, and I loved the ending with him teasing some type of Marvel Knights team. God, I wish they made a full Ultimate Daredevil series here. As a continuation of the Kingpin/Street Hero storyline, it didn't include Black Cat or Shang-Chi or Iron Fist, and I think Elektra is just presumed dead now, but it did include Daredevil and the Punisher, which are characters I like a lot more, and instead of dealing with Hammerhead, it's the loser villain, the Kangaroo. This was a good story, and I liked how much world building with these heroes they included. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and that is all.